few weeks ago, I had the opportunity to catch up with a new acquaintance. I guess it's okay to call him a new friend. Someone who happens to live in this Insurtech world like I do, like all of you do. This individual is a senior executive at one of the largest global policy admin providers, and we had recently been introduced by a mutual connection. This was the first time we'd had an opportunity to speak, and so we spent a little bit of time just getting to know each other, and I had the opportunity to ask him a few high-level questions about his business. Things like, hey, what are some of the macro trends you're seeing in the insurance industry that we should be thinking about on behalf of all of our customers? Policy admin space is competitive. How are you guys performing relative to all of your peers? And what are some of the innovations that you are individually really, really excited about bringing to the market? Not surprisingly, when the topic of innovation came up, he mentioned what his company was doing with AI. This is an individual that clearly had passion for the topic. And in telling me about some of the new innovations that they are bringing to the market, he actually started with his ChatGPT moment. Do you guys all know what I mean when I say ChatGPT moment? Effectively, one of those I know where I was life events. A little extreme, but kind of like my parents talking about, I know where I was when Neil Armstrong walked on the moon. It's one of those life events where you realize you saw ChatGPT, you saw it do something unbelievable, like Jay highlighted this morning, and he said, wow, this is going to be something. I imagine most of you in the room have had a version of that moment. I actually recall when I had my ChatGPT moment. It was December of 2022. ChatGPT had been out a little over a month. And like many people, I'd started to hear about all the buzz. People were talking about it online. There were news articles, people at work talking about it. And I was actually lying in bed one night, doing the Twitter doom scrolling you're not supposed to do before you fall asleep. And a few messages caught my eye. The first was actually a poem. One of those humorous AI-generated poems. You see it, you read it, someone offered a little bit of context around it, and I thought to myself, this is unbelievable. How did it actually do that? The second message that caught my eye was actually a breakdown of a research paper. I gotta be honest, I don't remember the specifics of the research it was talking about, but the way it synthesized all the information, broke it down succinctly, allowed the user to engage, almost as if two PhD students were having a conversation. I was captivated. Well, after I had my ChatGPT moment, I, like some of you in the room, had a range of emotions. The first emotion was excitement. Wow, there are no limits to what this thing can do. It is going to literally change the world. We have to harness it. We have to go after it aggressively. Incredible, incredible excitement. On the other end of the spectrum, nervousness. Hey, how is this going to impact people? How, as a software company, are we going to be sure we're building the right things in light of this technology? Are our employees, our customers, going to be massively disrupted? And in between those two bookends of emotion, I think I thought through every possible range of outcomes. And as we eventually experimented the technology, we saw what we could do and wrapped our heads around the practical applications, went back and forth on the journey that you see on this page. And while I was going through all of those emotions, the question I heard being asked over and over and over again is the question you see on this slide, which is, what should our AI strategy be? It came up in board meetings. It came up in discussions with third-party consultants. It was walking around the hallways, people asking this question over and over again. What should our AI strategy be? And I've thought about this question a great deal, and it's an important question to ask. AI is going to be very, very powerful. But I say with all due respect to the people that have asked this question, or maybe you've asked this question, I don't think it's the right one to start with. You see, the right question is what you now see on the screen. How can we use AI to execute our existing strategy? You see, your company exists because you've decided there are a set of problems you want to solve, a set of goals that you care about for your customers. You have unique, differentiating capabilities that allow you to do that. And AI isn't a separate thing. It is a tool in your tool belt to now bring that broader strategy to life. Well, at Applied, the visual you see on the page is a framework for how we think and talk about our strategy. And there are 3 elements to it, these 3 rings you see on the page. The first is that we want to bring to life what we call the digital round trip of insurance. It's this idea that if you're an agency, you've got these core workflows, sales and marketing, submissions and underwriting, policy management, financial management, all the way through servicing. As an agency, these are the core workflows that you are waking up performing each and every single day. And we must deliver an indispensable technology platform that actually helps you facilitate those workflows each and every day. The second is that almost everything an agency does requires connectivity and collaboration with carriers. And at Applied, we have a unique set of assets where we can drive collaboration, connectivity, and efficiencies between those insurance agencies and their carrier partners. And our goal is to eliminate all that friction, all that pain, all that inefficiency in how agencies and carrier partners are working together. And the third is, let's come back to AI. Again, it isn't a separate thing. It's a crucial element of everything I just described. At Applied, we believe AI needs to be infused into every single step of the digital round trip of insurance. It is going to make each and every single one of these workflows more efficient, more intelligent, and it's going to drive that collaboration and connectivity between agencies and carriers. That's how we think about AI powering what it is that we want to do. Now, with the acknowledgement that our AI strategy is to infuse it into every single facet of this digital round trip, there's one place I'd like to double click into a little bit further with you today, and that is commercial line submissions and underwriting process. More specifically, how can AI be used to dramatically improve how both agencies and carriers execute the commercial line submission and underwriting process? Not just small commercial and mid-market, the full gambit, not just admitted, in the specialty as well. Our goal is to make this entire process faster, more collaborative, more intelligent. And now, before getting into how we're going to do that, let's just spend a couple minutes talking about the why. Why have we prioritized this as a place to focus? Well, the first, and I think everyone in the room knows this, but it's almost astounding when you see the numbers, commercial line insurance is massive. Over $500 billion of direct written premium in the US alone. Think about that for a second. That's over $15,000 a cost for every single business in the US. That represents nearly 2% of GDP. Again, it is a massive, massive piece of our economy and a very important element of every business in the US. Second, at Applied, our core customer is the independent agent. Nearly 60% of independent agencies in North America are an Applied customer, and for most of them, commercial line policies are their lifeblood. Over 70% of the premium of a typical independent agency is commercial lines. It's an even higher fraction of the revenue and the profit that they realize in a given year. And I hope you'll all agree, it is without question an even higher fraction of the headache, of the day in and day out pain that they experience. Again, hopefully this resonates with the entire group, but commercial line submission and underwriting is wildly, wildly inefficient. It takes hours upon hours for account managers, producers, for insureds to fill out the requisite forms to actually submit for these different policies. It takes weeks and weeks of back and forth to actually get through all of this underwriting, to actually finalize things, from underwriting assistant to underwriter to account manager to producer to insured. Incredibly painful process. And as an example of how frustrating this process is, I've talked to some of the largest insurance carriers in the world, and they point to this stat on the far right. 35% of all commercial line submissions are never even quoted due to the backlog of work that requires to get to them, due to the energy it takes to actually analyze them thoroughly. Think about what a terrible experience that is for everyone involved. If you're a carrier, that's lost revenue, that's lost profit, because you didn't get the opportunity to quote. If you are an insured or an agent that's actually trying to write this business, think how frustrating it is that over 1 out of every 3 times, you're not even getting a reply. So this is why we're so focused on commercial line submissions and underwriting, and think AI can be a very powerful tool. So how do we fix all this? Well, with AI, we actually have the opportunity to embrace some of the ways that the industry already does business and make it even better. For example, what you see on the screen are some of the common forms that need to be filled out to do commercial lines insurance. Accord forms, supplementals that are unique to each carrier, loss runs, schedule of hazards. I could go on and on. I'm sure many of you in the room could do as well. And the industry has taken some good steps. They say, hey, how do I streamline this by building things like comparative raters, by, in the carrier portals, asking fewer questions, and looking for other forms of straight-through processing. And hey, that's great. But by increasing all of that speed, you can decrease the quality of the underwriting, which means inaccurate pricing, which means you might lose the business altogether. Or worse, you're a carrier and you've actually underwritten the risk, didn't price it right, and that's going to hit you with loss runs down the road. With AI, there can be a new complementary approach. We can actually embrace the completion of all these forms and distributing them through traditional channels like email. What we're building at Applied is the ability to read all of those documents, read all of those emails, the ability to extract that information using the latest reasoning models, and turn what in the past was just a PDF into structured data. When tuned and trained correctly, these models can not only analyze well-structured forms, they can interpret handwritten responses, images of documents, and of course, some of the statements that are out there that are a little more templatized. Now, once all that information is in those documents, images, et cetera, are extracted and structured into good, clean data, at Applied, what we're going to do with it is we're going to send it through what we call the IBANS distribution platform. For those not familiar with it, the IBANS distribution platform is a tool for the whole industry, a set of pipes, a set of rails, if you will, that today is focused on small commercial submissions. So think you get that data, you send it to a carrier, and in real time, you're going to get quotes. Well, for small commercial risks, these pipes will continue to do that, but they're also going to now support non-ratable applications, and in particular, mid-market, complex, and specialty risk. What they're going to do is they're going to send all of that information into a new software platform that we're calling an underwriting collaboration platform. Think of this underwriting collaboration platform as an application that sits in front of what the underwriter already uses to price and rate risk. It's where the submission data I just shared is going to be aggregated, where those submissions can be, using AI, automatically triaged so the underwriter knows what to work on, and where the underwriters and their assistants can check the submissions for completeness. And most importantly, where the underwriter will have the ability to directly communicate with their agency partners when they're missing information or need something to be done to actually complete the application. An important piece of information is missing in one of the forms. Great, tag it. That's going to send a message over to the agency's management system so they can see that it's occurred. Missing one of those loss runs or statement of values, send a message directly from this application. It's going to show up in the system that the agency side user lives in every single day so that they can quickly reply. And throughout this process, there is tremendous opportunity to use AI to make it more efficient and intelligent. I already talked about the ability for AI to extract all that information and again, turn it into good, clean aid data. But AI can do so much more. While filling out the underwriting forms, AI can supplement the information that's being filled out. It can search the internet, it can search databases, it can search the actual documents, and it can derive underwriter insights, derive information that's not obvious just based on the question that was asked. When the underwriter receives this submission, AI can find lookalike submissions. Tell the underwriter, hey, this looks like these 2 or 3 other pieces of business that you not only liked, but you won. And so spend more time here first. For agencies, AI can look at all the submissions going through this platform and actually tell the agency who really has appetite for this product now, not the marketing appetite, who's interested in writing this business now. And all the communication, all the back and forth that's going to live in this underwriting collaboration platform and integrated with the agency's management system, those messages can be automated with AI as well. Simply put, we believe AI can not only improve how commercial lines submissions are submitted, but it can meaningfully improve how agencies and carriers work together to understand these incredibly complex and important policies. And at Applied, we hope to be your indispensable technology partner to bring that to life. So thank you very much for listening to me, and hope that was helpful.